Hello boys and girls, Busternaut here, and welcome to Tanks and Answers episode 3. So, this week there isn't anything new about the game. After the latest 1.2 update, which introduced the platoon system and a new tier 3 Russian modern tank, there hasn't been update of the game. So I will start answering your questions right away. Okay, first question. What is your favorite tank and why? That's a pretty good question, thank you for asking. My favorite tank in the game at this moment is the T-62, the tier 2 Russian modern tank. And we can see a battle of the T-62 running at the moment. So why is the T-62 my favorite tank? Well, if you were watching my earliest videos, you will know that the T-62 wasn't my first favorite tank, and of course, the modern tanks were not introduced firstly in the game. My first favorite tank was the Panther. I really liked the Panther. It was pretty cool tank back then, and it still is a pretty good tank. After the introduction of the Pershing, I loved the Pershing and it became my favorite tank. And after the introduction of the modern tanks, I absolutely loved the T-62. So the first game I played after the modern tanks were introduced was in a T-55, and I was impressed by the quick turret rotation, because as you know that these modern tanks have extremely fast turret rotations, and that's what impressed me most. But after I played the T-62, I liked the T-55 as well, but the T-62 is just a better version of the T-55, so I loved the T-62. And your question is tricky because this is my favorite tank at the moment, but as we know, the modern tank T-3s are not completed yet, and we will see even more modern tanks soon. So it is quite, there might be a better tank which I will like more than the T-62, and my favorite tank would change again, but at the moment is the T-62. And why is this my favorite tank? Because I like the tank's speed. It's pretty quick and maneuverable, and I like the turret rotation as well, as I mentioned. I like the damage, but the better thing I like is the gun depression. The gun depression of the T-62 is decent. It's not very good, but it does the job for me. And I really dislike tanks which don't have gun depression, as you know, because the positions where you can go with them are very limited. So there is that, and also I like in the T-62 that its profile is very low. It's a sneaky tank that on further distances the enemy will it will be difficult for the enemy to hit you because of your low profile, and they can easily miss you. And that's why I like the T-62. Okay, next question. Let me just find it. There we go. Why haven't you done more videos on the lower tier tanks like the tier 3s and 4s? Cause there is still a lot of tanks you haven't covered yet. Well, I haven't stopped doing tank reviews, and you can expect M48 Patton tank review tomorrow. I have the video done and I'll be uploading it tomorrow, so stay tuned for that if you are interested in the M48 Patton. So I know that there are a lot of tanks which I haven't done a review yet, mostly in the World War II era, like the KV-1 for example. I haven't done a review on the KV-1, and I'll be doing those reviews. I haven't forgot about those tanks, as you mentioned, the tier 3s and 4s, and I will be doing a review on them. but I have covered most of the World War II tanks. And you probably asked this question because you see that I'm doing mostly a modern tanks review lately. And this is because the modern tanks were introduced not very long ago, and I think people will be more interested in the modern tanks. And again, when they update the game and they add a new modern tank, I feel like you guys will be interested in seeing the new tanks. What are the weaknesses and the strengths of this tank? And mostly, if you don't have enough money to buy this tank, after seeing my review, you can know what to expect of this tank, if it's good for you, and all that good stuff. So that's why I'm doing more modern tanks review lately. And as I said before, I will not stop doing tank reviews on the World War II vehicles, and I won't forget about those vehicles which I haven't done a review yet. So there we go. I answered your question. Final question for this week. In what aspect do you think the game should improve? Thank you for asking this question. It's a pretty good question again. And well, I like Armored Aces in this stage of the development. The game is pretty cool, and it's pretty well made. But well, it needs more work, and we all know this. So the first thing, it needs more maps, and they will be adding new maps. That's not a huge issue at the moment. They are focusing more on adding new vehicles, which is all that good stuff. We need more vehicles, and I will be very, very happy if I see a town map. This is the thing I want to see from Armored Aces, because the 3 maps we have are all open maps and like nature maps. There are small villages in those maps, but I want to see a map which is in a huge town. It will be very interesting to fight in the narrow streets and engage your enemies. It will require different strategy from the strategies we are using now for those open maps. So this will be quite interesting to see a city map. Next thing I think they should add is critical module damage. As I mentioned last week, this is very important for tanks warfare. For example, if you hit an enemy track, it should break. This is very important for the gameplay. And the 3 most important things of the module damage, which I think we must see earlier, is tracking, breaking the enemy's track, engine fire. If you hit an enemy's engine enough times to cause enough damage, it should burst in flames and set the enemy tank on fire. For that matter, they should add fire extinguishers as well. And the third and final thing of the module damage, which I think we should see earlier, is the ammo rack. When you hit an enemy's ammo rack enough times to cause enough module damage, it should blow up and kill the enemy tank in take out the hit points that are left. This will be quite interesting to see in the game. I'd love to see ammo racks in this game, actually, because I love explosions and all that good stuff. So there we go. That are the new things that I want to see. Also, one of the more important things in the game is the shell ballistics. I want, most of all, I want this game to get armor, values and shell penetration values, so you could get the best out of your vehicle's armor and best of your angling. This will require much more skill than it requires now to play this game, because you have to learn the weak spots of your enemies, and you have to learn how to angle your armor so you hide your weak spots. That's the most important thing which I want to improve in this game, and they will be improving this. You know, it's not an easy thing to add in a game, because, well, when a shell is fired from your gun's barrel, when those ballistics are added, first the system of the game should calculate, and when your shell hits the enemy, the system should calculate your shell's penetration, your enemy's armor on that spot, the angle of the enemy armor on that spot, the distance between you and the enemy, the penetration lost of the shell, the type of the shell, and all that stuff, and then the system decides based on those stuff whether or not your shell will penetrate. So this, in my opinion, is quite tricky to be added, but they will be improving the ballistics. They improved it not too long ago when they added the side shots and the rear shots as system. You know, when you hit your enemy's side, you deal more damage than if you hit your enemy's front, and if you hit your enemy's rear, you do a lot of damage. So that's what I want to see from this game. I want to see the ballistic system improved. Also, the different shell types must have different travel times and different traveling arcs. Like, for example, the HE ammo must travel slower than the AP ammo, and the heat or high explosive anti-tank ammo also needs to be slower than the AP ammo. So there's that. And I also, speaking of ammunition, I want to see from this game, your tank needs to, you need to be able to purchase your ammunition and to have a limited ammunition in your vehicle. Like in this moment of the game, you can fire as much as you want, your ammunition won't run out. You have infinity ammunition basically, and I want to have you to have limited ammunition, and also I want different types of ammunition. Like for example, you can buy for your tank, if your maximum ammunition count is 60, you can buy 20 HE rounds, 20 AP rounds, and 20 of the other type of rounds which your vehicle has, for example the APCR ammunition, and they must have different cost. So for example, the HE must have lower price than the AP, and the most expensive one should be the APCR or the high explosive anti-tank. So there is that new ammunition system, but those stuff are not required. Like they're nice to have, and you know, the game must have those stuff, but at the moment, in this early stage of the game, they are not really required. They can add them later. At the moment, the game needs more vehicles and more maps for the gameplay, and as I told you, it needs improved ballistics, and they are working on it, which is very, very nice. And there is that. I think those are the most important stuff which the game should be improved with. And that's basically it for this week's Thanks and Answers. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions for me, leave them in this video's comments. And for the time that's left, I want to thank you all guys for the support lately. Thank you for all the likes that you leave. Thank you for all the comments. I really enjoy reading your comments and answering them. And overall, thank you for everything. Thank you for watching. And I really hope you like the Armored Aces videos that I upload. And I'm planning on making videos more frequently, but it's just it's just that but you know, the summer vacation is almost it's almost over, and the school starts, and it will be more difficult for me to make videos more frequently than this, but you know, I'll give the best in order to upload as much videos as I can, and I will not stop uploading videos because I don't have time or something like that. I will always find time to upload more videos. So there is that, and I hope you enjoyed, and let's finish by watching this battle here. So we were two tanks on my team, me and this other panther, and we were against how many enemies? I think 4 enemies. That's right. The T-3485 and the IS-1 are dead, and now I'm dead as well, and this teammate has to deal with the Tiger 1 and the IS-2, which is AFK. The IS-2 has crashed because it's not shooting at my teammate, and that's very lucky, because if the IS-2 hadn't been crashed, my teammate would have died already. He's doing a good job of angling his armor, assuming that he's giving his sight to the Tiger 1 and his rear to the IS-2, so lucky that the IS-2 is AFK. Not AFK, but crashed. And he manages to take out the Tiger 1, which is more important, and now he just has to take out this AFK IS-2, and the game is secured, which this was pretty lucky. But you know, I decided to play the Panther again to give it a go, assuming that it was my favorite tank. I haven't played the Panther for a long time, and I decided to give it a go, and that's the game I had in it. Not a bad game, if you're asking me. I finished second just because my teammate got more kills. Shout out to my teammate, he did the best he could, and we won the game. So this will be for this week's Tanks and Answers. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, this always helps me a lot. Thank you for the support once again, and I will see you on the battlefield.